Hello everyone, this is Mr. Fung with Week 2 Violin class lesson. In this lesson we will talk about our All for Strings book and we will start learning to read some notation, music notation, especially for our new plucking. Okay, so here's what the book looks like. It's by Robert Frost and you have to make sure it says violin, and at the other top we'll read book 1 right here. There's book 1 and it's a light brown coffee color cover. So we're going to open up to page 14 where we have starting by note. This is where we started off this week and we talked about all the different parts of the music line, the music staff, and we started to read some notes and also pluck along with the music notation here. So let's look at the very top. The basics, the staff line. It's got 5 lines that make up the music staff. This is where the composers would put the note head on specific lines so that we know exactly what note is being played. Next, for violins, that's unique for violins, we are using the treble clef. This is also known as the G clef because the spiral here in the middle lands on the G line. So, and that's unique to us because that's the clef that violins play with. Now these are measures, and measures are created on the staff line with bar lines separating them. Now we've created 2 measures here, and then there are the boxes in which a certain amount of beats will lay within. So if you look at number 1 here, there are a total of 4 measures. 1 measure, 2 measure, 3 measure, and 4 measures. So that's what it means to say the word measures in our music vocabulary. And the time signature, that tells us how many beats are in each measure, so 4, that will be the top number, and what kind of a note receives 1 beat, the quarter note. If there was an 8 below here, it would be the 8th note receives 1 beat, but we'll wait till 4th grade to worry about that. And next, you'll find whole rests, which is a box that's hanging from the 2nd line, which means that you will rest for 4 counts, and you won't move or make a sound for 4 beats. So let's come down to our first example, D string. You'll notice that there's a note head and there's a stem for every one of these dots, and we read music like we read English, from left to right. At first, we're going to sing the notes out loud and trace along with our fingertips or the bow. And it's quite simple. You start on the left, and you'll notice that there are 4 notes, and there are also 4 counts in each measure. So here we go. I'll count you off. 1, 2, sing the D with me. Go. D, 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 D. Rest. 2, 3, 4. D, 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 D. Rest. 2, 3, 4. And that's how we would play number 1 with a D string. Okay, let's move on to number 2. You'll see now the note head has moved up into the 2nd space from the bottom. Before, the D was below the line, and here in the blue box you'll see the difference between D and A. A is a much higher sounding note, and so when they write it out in music, they'll draw the A note considerably higher in the 2nd space. So each time you see the note head in the 2nd space, you'll have to recognize that as the A. Let's do the same singing for A. Ready? I'll count you off. 1, 2, 3, go. A, 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 A. Rest. 2, 3, 4. A, 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 A. Rest. 2, 3, 4. So you get the idea of how we read the music notation, and now to pluck it. At first, at home, when you are practicing your plucking, I'd like for you to try to pluck without looking at your fingertips. We practice this in our class where we train to pluck with our eyes closed. This way, when you are playing with the music, you can concentrate on looking at the notes as opposed to looking down at your fingers. It's like using a remote control to your television. We wouldn't stare at the remote while we're pushing the buttons, flipping through the channels. We would watch the TV. So similar to that, this is your TV screen, and your instrument is your remote control. Okay, moving on to number 3. Now in number 3, there are no rests, so we go from one measure to the next measure straight on, and you'll notice if you take a quick scan, there's almost a pattern here, but be aware at the last few measures there's a different a sequence of notes. Okay. So with the plucking, it would sound something like this for number 3. We'll start with D, so we have our fingers set on the D. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 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 A, 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 D, 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 A, 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 D, 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 A, 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 D, 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 D. And that would be number 3. Next, we have half notes. If you take a close look at the half notes are not filled in the middle. And they look different from the quarter notes. And there are only 2 half notes in a measure, in this measure in particular, too. Half notes are longer sounding notes from quarter notes. Think of quarter notes as there are 4 quarters in a dollar, so we split the measure into 4 beats in 4 different parts right here. There are also 4 beats in this measure. However, each of the sound will receive 2 counts. So, over here, when we sing the D, we'll sing it for 2 clicks. Listen, 1, 2, here we go. D, D, rest, 2, 3, 4, D, D, rest, 2, 3, A string, A, rest, 2, 3, 4, A, D, D, and when we play it, we just have to pluck it once and let it ring for 2 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 2, 3, 4. And so on and so forth. Once you've completed this page, I'd like to encourage everyone to explore the next page from number 5 through 12. Always singing and reading before we pluck. Happy practicing.